Welcome to Dynamo's Dozen with your co-host Ian the Dynamo Kelly, bringing you the greatest show that you've never heard of with, of course, your main host, Mr. Niall the Shopkeeper Hogan. This is the show that we bring you each and every single week where we talk about whatever may be on our minds, from pro wrestling, sports, entertainment, music, movies, muesli, fresh socks and jocks, everything in between, never forgetting the talk. And the only thing that I have over this man is that I can say it quicker. I am back from the lovely land of the snails. I'm back from Paris. Niall, thank you so much, of course, for steadying the ship and running the ship and keeping it going in my absence. So today, I once again hand the reins to you. I just decided not to put you under pressure and make you do that introduction again, which
God.
I was impressed. In fairness, you did it, but you did it in your own style.
I've tried it a couple of times now, and I've come close, but I have to take my time doing it. It doesn't quite have the ring that you give to it, because obviously you've done it 100,000 times at this stage, I'd say. But yeah, we give it a go. I wanted to stay kind of authentic as I could.
Exactly.
That kind of gone, but not forgotten,
Well, in my absence, it was lovely to hear. In fairness, I got a kick out of it, and I know a lot of listeners did. We are once again back to normality, back to the grind. Obviously, Extreme Rules has happened. Lots of not so much news this week as such. We're gonna concentrate on WWE. We're going to leave the boys down south to give us something else for next week, because I'm sure they will. And in fairness, sometimes you want to give someone a break as well. You know what I mean? El Tony needs a break. It was his birthday the other day, so happy birthday, Tony Khan. And you kind of forget that this man is running a football club, and a pretty good football club in the Premier League as well. So and
an American football team and a pro wrestling promotion, yeah.
So, I mean, give this motherfucker a break sometimes, people, including us. So, Tony has
and also at times looks like he never gets any sleep as well. So that's fair as well, isn't it?
He really does. He really does. Although he could put CM Punk up centre forward for Fulham, he'd probably do a decent job.
No. 2 weeks in, he'd be fed up and he'd be cribbing and he'd want to go home again. So.
Well, you get a game out of him. That's all I'm saying.
A game.
That's it. A singular game.
A game, yeah.
A game. So yeah, Extreme Rules is one of those as well that has kind of, I don't know, in some people's minds, I'm not going to give my opinion yet, but in some people's minds, it's kind of like, you've just undone the great work you've done with this pay-per-view, but we'll give you a pass because you're still doing great work. And then the Raw after it was
really that was your thinking on it. I thought it was an excellent pay-per-view.
Well, listen, I'm only going 50-50 on the comment section here, because I'm looking at it. I have a couple of comments open. I haven't given my opinion yet. A lot of people are kind of thinking it was a bit of a because it was in where it was, in the city that it was, in the town that it was a little bit, let's say, extreme. So that's, you know where I'm going.
That's exactly what it says on the tin, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this.
These people giving out about it, do they not remember Turnbuckle Gate last year at Extreme Rules? Should I revert them back to how sad we were a year ago at this pay-per-view? Wrestling to us was nearly dead.
I wasn't a happy man, was I?
No, I don't think anyone was.
No. Well, look, you're going to steer this pay-per-view from me, because I'm interested to give my thoughts and opinions on it. So you're going to steer this one.
Yeah, I think if anyone watched the show last week, I did the preview. You know, not to toot my own horn, as they say, but I got it pretty close. I just got the women's matches mixed up, but everything else I was really spot on. You know, should have actually put a bet on DraftKings or something like that. I was pretty good, in fairness.
I should have given Todd Bowley a shout and asked him to do you a deal on DraftKings.
Yeah,
actually.
Get the old DraftKings in there. Yeah, we could have made a few quid. But it started off obviously with the Brutes versus Imperium. Which to me, I think in in the preview, I called it that I thought this was main event stuff. The way Sheamus has been chasing Gunther down on the IC belt, the match that they had at Clash, the match that they had on SmackDown the night before. But this was a fantastic opening match. I didn't expect them to open with this. Plenty of action and intensity and stuff like that. And how great is it to see Pete Dunne back in the singlet? It's absolutely brilliant. He's a ball of energy, and he's so rough. Like he nearly comes across in a style where you'd feel he hasn't been trained yet. He's so good, but it's just as rough as be damned. The character lends it to itself really and stuff like that. But and great to see Sheamus getting a win as well. He's been chasing Gunther down now at this stage and taking some amount of hidings. It was good to see him pick up the win and stuff like that, which again I think allows the program to continue on. It's not getting stale in any way. We'd watch Sheamus and Gunther most weeks at this stage. These two boys just beat the living Jesus out of each other.
Shout out to Sheamus, who we've been harsh on over the years, to be fair, because we have a personal relationship, or had, should we say. But shout out to him, especially over the last year and a half, maybe to 2 years, where he's really stepped up and become like a dependable. I mean, he's always been dependable, to be fair. WWE, he could never be accused of anything other than that. Yeah. But he's really upped his game in terms of his physicality, hasn't he? Because he was always physical in the ring, and kind of, you'd see that outside, the forearms over the chest, but he's kind of really been involved in some really physical matches when you think of the drill stuff during lockdown. Now with Gunther and stuff. I wasn't a huge fan of this purely because of the I thought the gimmicks outside were so unnecessary. I really did. I mean, like, ask an Irishman what a fucking shillelagh is, he's gonna tell you I haven't a fucking clue. It's an American Irish thing. I don't know what the fuck, only since Hornswoggle. And then there's like a bar out there, and there's just stupid shit out there where I was like, here now, you've lost me a little bit.
But you kind of need it, don't you? It is Extreme Rules, so there has to be some sort of gimmicks.
It was utter horse shit. You could pick them out. You could pick the shillelagh out from under the ring and say, "Oh shit, there's Hornswoggle's."
This was Leprechaun stuff for you, was it? This was Leprechaun.
It was fuck me, man. It was.
I have to say, I enjoyed it. I thought it added to it.
Do you know what it was like in the great, in the great Samhain vein? We're in Samhain. We're in Halloween month. We're in spooky season.
Yeah.
It'd be like watching we're both looking forward to. Sure, you can't wait to bring the boy Ben out to the new Halloween movie. Yeah, it'd be like going into the gaff and Laurie's there, and all of a sudden Michael Myers has got all the gimmicks laid out for him as to what he's going to kill her with.
Don't be surprised.
Trust me, it's not going to happen. John Carpenter's involved in this movie. Don't you dare say that. No, it was just that was the only kind of letdown for me. I mean, look, it's always going to be difficult when you've got all those men in the ring at one time. I mean, three-way dances, they used to call it back in the day, or triple threat, whatever you want to call it. It's always going to be difficult to navigate, because you've got the cameras not knowing where to really look, and when it's scripted to the point where the camera does know where to look, then it's a little bit difficult for the boys in the ring, because they don't, they're trying to get their timing right. And I mean, this was 18 minutes. Yeah,
but you have to allow for the fact as well, the two boys had beat the living piss out of each other the night before. And then they're coming into the pay-per-view match, they battered each other on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So they go through. And 100%. The thing about it is, you needed to have something there. I know it was kind of, there was like a bit of cheese to it and stuff like that. But I think because for the last 6 or 8 weeks or whatever it is, we've watched these 6 guys beat the piss out of each other. It just needed something a little bit more to just make it feel that bit extreme. It didn't need
the gimmicks on the outside for me. Yeah. It was too much. It was the step over the top. I mean, I know I'm going to a Kiss gig, but sometimes it's okay if I get to see them in the Whiskey a Go-Go rather than Madison Square Garden. Do you know what I mean? Because I know it's going to be a great show, and I think you're
not going to get a Kiss gig though without gimmicks. Let's be fair here, and you'd be disappointed if you did.
No, but Kiss is pro wrestling, and they are the gimmicks. The lights are the gimmicks. You know what I mean? But I don't need to see, I don't need to see Gene Simmons come out with his extra pair of boots standing beside him. He's already wearing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. It's just one of those little things that I did agree with some people on when I looked at it. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a hard-hitting match. But also, I will say one thing. Lads, no need to actually kill each other. Like, it's okay. It's like, is someone in WWE lost a plot here where I'm like, right, lads, don't need to injure anyone on this. This is not AEW. Like,
yeah, but see, they set the bar a Clash at the Castle. You see, you seen those pictures afterwards where those two boys looked like they got ran over by a dart. So it's like,
well, you know what you're getting with Gunther.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting,
and
you know what you're getting with Sheamus because he steps it up. But look, it was a very strange place on the card for me too.
Yeah.
Very strange place on the card. I would have thought maybe, but then again, this is the weird placement of matches on this card, to be fair, right? So, I mean, we saw the poster. We thought we were getting Edge and Balor as main event, and then we didn't, which we will get to.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe they wanted to really roil this Philadelphia crowd up and let them see some.
Let the mascot out.
That's all right.
Yeah,
maybe we were looking at a case where we were like, right, they want to get that Philadelphia crowd roiled up. They probably fed them full of beer and hot dogs and all that good stuff. And but I mean, Jesus Christ, it was a long opening. It was kind of like WCW Uncensored. Do you remember Uncensored?
Yeah.
Remember that show?
Yeah.
Remember the old pay-per-views Uncensored where they'd have like I remember like DDP, Raven, and Benoit having a barn burner where they just bet the piss out of each other in the bleachers in the opening. So I don't know. What do you think, Niall? Maybe I need a yin to the yang. I'm 50-50 on the opening match.
No, I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a breath of fresh air when you see these two lads absolutely kicking these six lads killing each other, like, you know what I mean? And I think there had to be a little bit of gimmicking up as well because the boys had gone through a war the night before. So I think it was important that they went to the outside and they let things happen in the ring that was just a little bit softer, let's say, than what you'd expect. And I think I have to say I really enjoyed it. Kicked it off, and it was just it was kind of weird that, and we'll get into the next match, that this is what they followed it up with, because that brought the tone then right down in terms of that. And we know what that crowd is like there as well. They are intense, big time. I've been in that stadium with Philly fans, and they are lunatics, and lunatics in a good way, not in a bad way.
Well, in both ways.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
absolutely. Sorry, Philly fans, but you are lunatics in both ways. Like,
absolutely
fucking lunatics.
Passionate beyond belief.
No, but I mean, it was good to see Sheamus get the win, get the W. It didn't hurt anybody in this match because it was a barn burner. Getting the Razor's Edge as well was nice. Nice little tribute to our boy Scott Hall as well. Yeah. But yeah, second match, call it.
Yeah, the second match for me. This has been. I don't know how to describe this. This matchup between Liv getting the belt, which I thought at the time was really, really cool, and the character development of it has been a little bit kind of stop-start, really, in terms of the liking and unliking of it. But the matchup is kind of really, really weird because Ronda's so
makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't put you in a position where you believe that Liv can get the job done. And that Ronda's just going to beat the living Jesus out of her.
Well, the first match, in fairness, was smart because she was going for the choke. Yeah. And then she pinned the shoulders. It was really smart booking. Really, really smart, intelligent booking. Yeah. I came into this match as well, the same as you. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no, I thought with this match there was talk of Charlotte returning, and I mentioned it on the preview, and I thought that Charlotte might rock up and cause a problem here where Liv might escape with the belt, because we'll get into the other women's match later, but I thought it's the other women's match where you would have got the title change and Liv would have lived another day, let's say. But Charlotte's I just think
still getting that Mexican honeymoon dick. Still.
Yeah, but she's due back imminently anyway. But I just think it's I think it's one
Well,
of
she might
those
be
things.
due before she's due back, to be fair, looking at their Instagram.
Yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, no, it was an interesting one in terms of it was slightly better, I thought, than the SummerSlam match, slightly better. But it just got a little bit messy and a little bit kind of it sort of descended down into a brawl a bit too quick, and it was Ronda just beating the piss out of her basically.
Well, I'm going to be honest, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it out, and I don't care who I upset with this, with these little Liv Morgan fans, like, you know, shout out to Jay Kennedy and all. Like,
Jay's a big
dick,
Liv
honestly.
Morgan fan.
Yeah, because of how she looks. Like, don't get me wrong, she's a good worker. Like, if she's working someone like Alexa Bliss, I'm all over it. I'm sure it's a great match. When you're working on someone like Ronda Rousey, who's a legit badass, you know, who, by the way, has become, I think, a very good pro wrestler. I think has become a very good. She's a good storyteller.
Yeah,
she's able, and now that she's heel, I like that a bit more. She's a bit more dastardly, a bit more gnarly.
Yeah.
But like, Ronda's working with basically a child here. If you're looking at it in black and white, you know what I mean. And you know, she's getting choked out and fucking smiling while she's getting choked out. I'm like, come on, what are you? Like, are you part of the Wyatt family now, or what? Like, what's this? It just made no sense to me in any way, shape, or form. Like, Liv Morgan even getting the slightest offense on a Ronda Rousey is laughable. The fact that it went 12 minutes, I mean, you could see that the what you call it, the baseball bat was gimmicked to bits. It was just, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. This rivalry has made no sense to me. I get that you want to go with the crowd and you want to get Liv Morgan over, but look, Liv Morgan is the next, like, they're peas in a pod. It's going to be it's no dissimilar to Kofi Kingston and the Daniel Bryan thing. Fans get over it really quickly. Like, when we look at the actual totem pole of female wrestlers, let's be honest, who would you put on the top 5 right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, Rousey's obviously in there. Charlotte, Becky, Bailey. Probably Shayna
100%.
Baszler you put in there, I would imagine, to
100%.
A point. But, and again,
Charlotte when she comes back.
Charlotte was mentioned as well. But there's an awkwardness to it as well, because you can't just keep the belt and the title pictures going around those 5 or 6. So someone has to break in eventually, like an Alexa or like a Liv Morgan, just to keep it that little bit fresh and stuff like that. Because if you think about it, I mean, we know where this is going to go. This is going to regenerate the feud between herself and Charlotte, and we're going to be going down that pathway again, and probably all the way to Mania, no doubt. And it'll be
which makes sense.
Yeah, and it'll be the payback job, which is fine. And I suppose in my confusion of doing the preview as well, I forgot that was the stadium, and that was the venue where Ronda came out on the stage at the Rumble that we were at, and that's where she kind of made her debut, if you like, in terms of her appearance. So I probably should have known better on this one, but I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with Liv now. What way does it go? Or, is she gonna, as you said, could she end up disappearing off maybe into, the Wyatt family thing or something like that, or Bray Wyatt, or what happens?
I think
is Alexa gonna go back in there as well? I don't know.
You know what? I think there's a perfect opportunity there to have her and Alexa do something, whether it's, a feud or program. I really do, because she's definitely got the facials. She's a good looking girl. But I mean, look, the Greeks made statues out of men and women for their, I'm going to sound like Jay Kennedy here, but the Greeks made statues out of men and women for their, their achievements and stuff like that. And Ronda Rousey is someone that, without a shadow of a doubt, would, in any other fucking time period in history, would have a fucking statue made of herself. And Liv Morgan would have just been a gust,
Yeah, I mean, in fairness to her, for the last 2 or 3 months, whatever it's been, she's done okay. In fairness, it's tougher as well when you're up against someone like Rousey. It's not easy. And look, sometimes you go into a program with a dance partner and the dance just doesn't feel right, and it doesn't create the chemistry that you think, and it's it runs its course, and it's time to push it out there and do something different.
I'd agree with that.
And we'll see. But
I'm not shitting on Liv Morgan. I'm not shitting on Liv Morgan in any way, shape, or form. All I'm saying is that there are certain stars, and like I get called out all the time. Well, technical wrestling and pro wrestling doesn't get you to the dance anymore. Okay, well here I am telling you that you have a legitimate superstar in Ronda Rousey, and your Liv Morgan ain't gonna get the job done against Ronda Rousey. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
I just think.
Does Becky look physically imposing to a Ronda Rousey or to a Charlotte? No. But guess what she did? She went and became a fucking superstar. You know what I mean? And I think Liv Morgan has the potential to do that. But the thing is, she's about knee high to a grasshopper, kind of like Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. Like, I think though with Becky as well, there's a kind of a legit physicality to her as well in the way that she works.
Oh well,
and the way that she presents herself as well. Like if you've got a title match there between Becky and Ronda, that's a legit competition there as well and stuff. You can sell it. You know what I mean?
But it's because of what Becky's created for herself. What I'm saying with Liv is, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. It's heightism. It's the same thing now that you're seeing with the women that happened with the men back in the day.
Yeah.
Like that there is, like, the height does actually factor in. Do you know what I mean? The height does factor in. When you're like Alexa Bliss, who's like Kylie Minogue size, point size, you know, and then you're going against fucking Charlotte. I mean, it makes no sense. It's like it's not commented on because it's female wrestling. But it's no different than, say, Chris Benoit going in against the Giant in WCW.
Yeah, although if you look in the men, if you look at the way it's evolved in the men's division, it's there's acceptable situations in there where you can see it. Like if you've got what was it, like a Balor versus Roman Reigns, if Balor was to go over, and I don't mean in the current run, but you know what I mean. I mean, but
there's not much size difference there, though, Niall. Do you know what I mean? Because like one is 6'2".
Yeah, but there's quite a physical difference. You know what I mean? As well.
We watched. Yeah, no. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you saw Balor against, say, I don't know, like a Matt Riddle or a what's his name, Seth Rollins. There's not much difference. Like there's a couple of inches in height. It's not like Balor's going up against Kane.
Yeah, no, I know that, but there's still
that's what I mean.
There's still a big difference in the terms of the physicality and the size, I think, anyway. And when I see them stand toe to toe, it's just I don't think that's really the issue. Like if Liv Morgan was, a little grenade and a badass and stuff like that, you know what I mean? I mean, we've seen it in years gone by when you've female wrestlers like Ivory, who was a legit badass when she was in the ring and stuff like that. Molly Holly, who was a legit badass when she was in the ring. They take a beating and give out a proper beating and stuff like that. Size didn't necessarily matter and stuff like that. But
going back to a time though where women's wrestling wasn't quite at the level it is now, though.
No, absolutely not. And I mean that's probably the case in point with this one. I think what happened was, I think if they put on a really good match and it didn't get into messy spots and, the finish wasn't kind of a little bit sort of awkward and stuff like that. And I think if there was a bit of chemistry between them and stuff like that, the problem that you have is you've got Ronda, who is evolving into she's a super athlete, obviously, but evolving into a very good pro wrestler. But again, she's still at times within matches and stuff like that, just that little bit green, if you like, at times in terms of bringing your dance partner along, you know what I mean? And it's just, and Liv as well, Liv is being propelled into that title picture and she's being the champion and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on her as well. And so I just chalk it down to that. It's just, the two of them just didn't really have any chemistry and it just came across a bit awkward. That's all. And it's one of those things that happen. Up next we have Cross versus McIntyre.
Your boy, Cross. Yeah. You're a big Cross fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you're a big Scarlett fan as well, but I don't think it's to do with. I don't think there's the epitome of a great worker who has a place in her role. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, she's very Sherry-esque. Isn't she? In some, and you know what?
You said that to me. You said that to me, which got me, no pun intended, quite cross a while back. And I kind of watched her over the time, she definitely, you can tell that she takes influence from the likes of Luna Vachon.
Yeah.
I think actually as much
she's been
as her,
studying the old girls, all right. She's been watching tapes, I think.
most
And she has it.
and
She
her
has it
timing, by
pretty
the way,
close,
is absolutely fantastic.
impeccable. Yeah, absolutely. She knows
Really.
exactly when to interject and not hurt him, but just propel him, and it's really good. And she's not trying to steal the limelight, and she's stunningly beautiful, but she comes across as a real, like, she's that beautiful girl in the pub that's a pain in the
I was
backside on a
waiting on
Friday
that.
night.
How many
You know?
times are we going to get more beautifuls here for the Dazzler
Yeah,
now? How many
yeah,
times are we going to get more
absolutely.
beautiful? Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a match that I called where it was kind of like it was hard hitting. The whipping was horrific. But the match just felt like it just, I don't know what it was about starting off with the beatdown in the first match. Then the second match, I think, brought the tone down a little bit. And then the boys hadn't constructed a match where they thought they'd have to bring the tone back up again. And that was the problem. They just failed slightly in bringing the tone back up. But again, two lads who absolutely beat the crap out of each other. And I called it in the preview. I felt that Cross would go over, and I felt that it wouldn't hurt Drew in any way. And I mean, that's all you can ask for it, really. But yeah.
Well, Drew, it's kind of similar to what you were saying about, when you were talking about Liv there, for example. And I don't want to hang on Liv too much.
Yeah.
Once you've been in there with greatness, it's not really going to hurt you because you've already got the rub. You know what I mean? So you've already got the rub. So you're already like a star within people's eyes. So automatically people are going to buy your t-shirt. People are going to buy your figure. People are going to buy your merchandise. So once you've been in there with greatness, that's what I mean. You've got the rub. So now you're actually bringing something to the table. You have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen with Liv. And I believe it's the same with Karrion Kross, because obviously Hunter is a big fan of both men, I'm sure, but Drew was quite clearly Vince's guy, whereas I mean the wrongs that have been righted 19 times now with comebacks. I believe it's 19 different people that have come back under Triple H that have been let go unforgivingly by Vince McMahon. We know it's Hunter and Stephanie's show now. I think Karrion Kross absolutely needed this. It wasn't a great match. It really wasn't, I think. But I also think that most people on this card were actually let down by whoever the fucking booker was on this one. Because I know it wasn't Hunter 100%. The booking on this and the 30 chiefs that they have in the background, which I wish Hunter would just finally get rid of, and let go of more backroom staff, because this is ridiculous. He needs Todd Bowley as an agent, actually. Because, I mean, this could have been an opener and it probably would have got over. Liv Morgan and Ronda could have been an opener and it probably would have got over. So I think what we're going to see here is a bit of a trend of matches in the wrong place.
I don't know whether it's matches in the wrong place or a couple of matches that just failed to step up and deliver at the level that they were expecting.
But this one did.
Yeah, but naturally when you're in Philly, you want to start off a show with a match potentially like the Brutes versus Imperium, where they're going to beat the holy hell out of each other and get the crowd going,
I disagree though, Niall, because think about it, right? And I know, like, from experience, I know that you can actually have, like, an effect can ripple down. Now, obviously not on this scale, but ripple down where you're trying to elevate your match to a match that just got the biggest pop, because you can hear it. You can always hear it, no matter where you are, whether it's in a bingo hall or whether it's in an arena. Doesn't matter.
You're listening
you can hear it and you're going, of course.
Yeah.
And then you've got that one guy that comes out, or gal that comes out and goes, oh, fuck. Geez, you want to step up before this? And you're like, what the fuck? I'm behind the curtain here. And they're going, shit, I got to really reassess myself now and go, what do I need to do to, you know what I mean? So there is elements of that. And I think I honestly think you could have put any of these matches on first, but the first one. Like, I personally would have went with Liv and Ronda at the start and let them actually feel the crowd properly. This is just my opinion now.
Yeah.
I would have let them feel the crowd, go a little bit more hard hitting, let them get a bit more involved, or else this one. I just thought this one was a little bit of a letdown. I mean, it was only 10 minutes, 11 minutes. It wasn't exactly a long match.
Yeah, I
mean,
don't know.
Carrion got the rub though. Anyway,
The only thing I'd be worried about in it is if you lose the crowd. Let's suppose you put Rousey and Liv Morgan on first. If you lose the crowd that early, it could be very difficult to get them back, and especially a Philly crowd. They're really, really tough. Like, you know what I mean?
but not when they know that they've got Balor and Edge and then I quit, and then they've got Riddle and Seth, and then they've got Belair and Bailey. Not when
But if that's the case, then they've loaded the back end. So then you can't really. If that's the case, and they know that that's coming, and they have the crowd, then it doesn't really matter what you put on first, second, and
Wait,
third.
well, there you go. So they failed on two occasions then, right? Because the first one has got them in, but then they failed in the middle, and then they failed at the end, which were
Yeah,
not.
but I don't think I. Yeah, but I don't think it was the booking that failed. I don't think there was anything wrong with the booking of the matches. I think
No,
just
it's
some
the
matches
placement
just.
of the matches.
Yeah, well, not even that. I just think some of the matches just didn't deliver at the level that they maybe were expecting. That's all.
I
That's what I
disagree. I
think.
disagree. I think they've, and to be honest with you, I'm actually going to be a fucking champion of the workers here. I don't think any of the workers on this pay per view were at fault. I think the bookers were at fault with this stupid fucking gimmick. I'm not into this gimmick style pay per view. Like, I'm really not, because, like, fair enough. You've got Fall Brawl. You've got two rings back in the day. I'm okay. You're the one where the payoff is when all the boys are in the cage. That's it, or girls, whatever. In the modern era,
Yeah,
the
I don't know.
fact is that everything has to be a gimmick match now. You're always gonna have this debate. Me and you could be sitting here for 3 fucking hours going back and forth. You agree, I disagree, blah
Yeah,
blah blah on the debate. It's You're a professional wrestler. Let the professional wrestling do the work, and then bring the gimmick in.
yeah, but you're always going to have a pay per view. There's always going to be that pay per view within the year that calls for that stuff. It's just
But there
amped up a little
doesn't,
bit
yeah,
more.
yeah, no, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be the team throughout the whole pay per view. Let there be a wrestling match or two. Let there be a wrestling match or two,
Well,
and
well, I
then
mean, well, I mean, in theory they did. I mean, if you look at Balor versus Edge,
come on, Jesus, hockey
well,
sticks and fucking come on.
yeah, but you had other people interfering and stuff like that. But it was basically an I quit match.
It's fucking. Would you? Oh, come on now, man. You're roiling me now. Come on, let's go. Let's get on to the next
Well,
one.
I don't know what you've read up on or what you watched. I thoroughly enjoyed most of the matches on this. I don't have a problem with this pay per
Well,
view at
you
all.
would. You're an S&M guy, so bring me on to the next match.
Yeah, Belair champion versus Bailey.
Very
This,
disappointed with the outcome of this, to be honest with you.
yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It was, I suppose, when you look at what happened, it was how easily Belair fended off that damage control. She sort of disposed of them very easy, considering what we had witnessed at Clash at the Castle, where they had looked so strong. So yeah, from that point of view, yeah, I was nailed on. I thought Bailey was going to get the title here, and I thought they could have done it in such a way where they blamed they blamed the introduction of the ladder in some way, and they could figure out a way of keeping Belair very strong. Obviously, I got both calls on both the women matches wrong. But yeah, again, it was like, I don't know, that double K.
I think Bailey. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think Bailey is pound for pound the best women's pro wrestler on the planet right now.
Jeez, that's a call.
At this moment in time, I think, yeah, and that
I think.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I mean,
I mean,
I thought your one Belair's, oh, man, she fucking irks me something terrible. I thought her Raw promo, like, she actually, and listen, you should always believe your own hype, 100%. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but I don't think she's in. I don't think she's. I honestly don't think she's in the league of a Bailey or a Charlotte or a.
I know.
We talked about this, what, maybe a year and a half ago, when she won her first, maybe 2 years ago now.
Yeah, probably 2 years, I'd say, at this stage. Yeah.
I haven't seen her progress as a performer, other than coming out with the little dance, and her promos have gotten a little bit better, but she's doing all that talk. Yeah, baby, you're not in my league and all that shit. And you're just like,
Yeah, but I mean, you have to. Once you get to that level, you have to present yourself in a
Oh no,
certain
I
way.
get it. No, but
You know
she
what I mean?
hasn't. I haven't seen a different side of her. I haven't
I
seen.
have. I think she's evolved over the last 2 years.
I don't.
Definitely, I think she's had some stellar work with Becky and all in the past
But
and
it,
stuff
but
like that, where
evolved.
she's really
Okay,
stepped up.
she's evolved.
Yeah,
She's evolved. But has she
yeah,
evolved to the level of a Charlotte or a Becky or a Bailey? I don't think so.
yeah. But I mean, you have to afford her the time as well. She hasn't had the time of those girls
She's
either.
had 2 years.
Yeah, but hang on, those girls weren't at that level after 2 years. You have to give them time. I mean, let's
Come
be honest
on,
here.
Charlotte wasn't that level after 2 years. Becky
No,
was in there 2 years.
go back and look at some of Charlotte's early stuff as well. Sometimes it was horrific. You
But it
can't
was
turn around
better.
and
It
say
was
that.
better than Belair's. That's a fact. And
No,
Belair also,
I
by the way, was in NXT as well. So she had her.
no, I think you're
Belair
giving
had the same pathway as those two girls did in NXT.
I think you're giving her a hard deal. I think she's definitely evolved as a performer and stuff like that, and her wrestling has improved compared to where she was.
Slightly, slightly.
No, I think it's more than that. In fairness to her, I
I
think she's
don't.
had
I
some
don't.
really good matches with Becky and stuff like that and all. And I think
Yeah,
the hang with
she
Becky.
depends on her dance partner. No,
Yeah, but that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that if you're in with a more experienced person. Liv Morgan was in with it with Ronda, and she had a good dance partner, and she didn't hang with her.
but Liv
So
Morgan is more experienced than Ronda Rousey as a pro wrestler, so she should have
yeah,
been making the match better. No,
well, no, because you'd expect Ronda with her physicality and background and stuff like that in an Extreme Rules match to lead the match. I would imagine,
doesn't
especially
matter.
she's
She's
the
not
one
an
chasing the
Extreme
belt
Rules
as well.
match person. I don't know.
I think she's more an
But
Extreme Rules match person than when you put her in there with the likes of Charlotte or Becky. I think she's
I
kind of a
don't
little bit
believe.
exposed, in fairness.
I don't think so. No, to be
I
fair,
very
I
much think
thought
so.
she.
I
No,
think when you put Ronda Rousey in a ring with Charlotte Flair, I think she's very much exposed as a performer compared to Charlotte. Charlotte is
what
the
does that?
absolute cream and the pinnacle of those performers.
Yeah, but then obviously Charlotte's not as good as you think then because clearly if she's not able to get a great match out of I mean, look, when we talk about there's a reason I talk about and both of us talk about people like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, whatever, but especially Bret Hart. I'm not even going to put Shawn Michaels in it on this particular occasion. When you look at people like that were able to get a great match out of anybody, regardless of who they were.
I'm not saying they
Regardless.
haven't had good matches. I'm not saying they haven't had good matches
But
between
isn't
Charlotte
that
and
the
Ronda and
pinnacle
stuff.
of a performer though? Isn't that the pinnacle of a performer? Like at the end of the day,
Well,
Hulk
not
Hogan.
necessarily. I mean, Bret Hart has had some dance partners as well where it hasn't worked out very well and they've had some poor matches. And I wouldn't pin
Who?
that on Bret Hart either.
I'd like you to name one because I don't think
Yeah,
many
well,
people have
I don't
seen
have one to mind, but I'm sure there is.
exactly because
Yeah,
these guys are literally the pinnacle of.
yeah,
That's why they're
absolutely,
called the
absolutely.
greatest of all time. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Same. Shawn Michaels. It's the exact same. If Shawn Michaels
Mm,
had a bad match, you wouldn't know it
yeah.
because he was good at masking that.
Mm.
So that's what I'm saying about some of these characters. I'm not just taking it. Look, I like Bianca Belair. I'm just calling her out on this one. I don't think she is quite at that level of Bailey yet. I don't think she's quite at the level of Charlotte yet. I don't think she's at the level of Becky. Certainly not yet. And she's had 2 years to do so, and also the same education through the NXT system to do so. The same amount of time that those girls have had, and all I've seen is a progression of attitude and like coming around and doing the same thing, but I've not seen her progress as a performer in ring.
I
Certainly not.
totally
No,
disagree. Totally
okay,
disagree.
that's fine.
And
I don't.
it's a game of opinion, but I totally disagree. I think she's greatly improved as a performer out there and stuff like that. And
I still
I
don't
think
think
you're
she
being
touches
very
those
harsh on.
girls
Yeah,
I've
no,
mentioned.
but she might not be at that level where you've mentioned, but that doesn't mean she hasn't improved greatly. Because remember, that gulf can be quite big.
Oh no, but I'm putting. Sorry, let me emphasize what I'm saying. I'm not saying that she hasn't actually improved at all as a performer. She's had some great matches. What I'm saying is her all round package. Maybe that's maybe that's where we're mixing each
Yeah,
other up.
but I mean, not everyone. Like, if you look back through history and no matter how hard you train and no matter how hard you apply yourself to your craft, not everyone can be a Bret Hart. Not everyone can be a Shawn Michaels.
I'm not
They're
expecting
just
it to be a
no,
Bret
but you know
Hart,
what
but
I
I'm
mean.
expecting her in this. Well, forget them. I'm expecting her to be at least at the level now of Becky and Charlotte, and she's not. and she's a distance off.
But I think we're saying the same thing then, because you're saying you went back and you gave the example of Bret Hart and stuff like that. There's plenty of guys Bret Hart wrestled that never reached the level of Bret Hart, but they were still excellent superstars and brilliant wrestlers.
But the point I made was that Bret Hart was able to make people look good. Bianca can't make people look good. Liv Morgan can't make people look good. Charlotte Flair, to be fair to her, doesn't always necessarily make people look good. I think Becky makes people look good.
But I think in the case of this match, it wasn't Belair's job to make Bayley look good. Bayley is the veteran in there.
I was literally just about to say that I think the reason for my opinion that Bayley is the best in the business at the moment is because she makes anyone in the ring with her look good. Anybody.
Except the other night.
Well, I mean, there was a ladder thrown into it, if Bianca,
but it wasn't just a ladder.
But you said except the other night. So if Bianca Belair is this athlete that's improved so much and come on leaps and bounds, where was her part in it then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, as I said, sometimes you don't get the chemistry you want, and sometimes you throw in a thing like a ladder and stuff like that, and sometimes it just doesn't work for them.
Does it not go back to my point then? Sometimes take away the fucking gimmicks. There's no need for too many gimmicks.
Yeah, but this is the pay-per-view we're reviewing. You can't take away the gimmicks on an Extreme Rules pay-per-view.
No,
otherwise it's not Extreme Rules.
But that's why. So every match again. But that's why we're here to call out the fact that maybe the bookers got it wrong. That it doesn't always necessarily. Not every match needs to be an Extreme Rules.
But that's not down to the booking. That's down to the structure of the pay-per-view.
It's down to the booking. Who books the fucking thing? I mean, like, think about it.
The booker comes in and turns around and goes, they turn around first of all and they go, right, this match here, we're putting these two together. It's going to be a ladder match. Well,
you're an NWA fan. How many pay-per-views were called after the cage and the rage, blah blah blah, all this?
Yeah, but this is 2022. This is not 1985.
Yeah, but wrestling is very, and guess what? Wrestling was more over back then. Actually, if you think about it,
because it was a different world. You can't compare it. Exactly. It's apples and oranges.
But it's a very simple process, complicated by idiots. That's the thing.
So you expect an Extreme Rules? You expect an Extreme Rules pay-per-view to put on 5 normal matches and 1 Extreme Rules match?
Two or three normal matches and then 3 gimmick matches. Simple.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the matches that were in there, like a ladder match and a night quit match. We get them. You'll find those matches somewhere. I'm going to ask
the listeners out there. Disagree with me if you will. Disagree with Niall if you will. Tell me I'm wrong. If you had 3 catch can, whatever, 2, 1 out of a fall. Do you want a normal fucking bell to bell match with a 20-minute time limit? See the boys or the girls go in there, have a good wrestling match. 3 of those, or a tag team match, whatever, and then 3 gimmick matches, or do you just want a pay-per-view full of gimmicks and it means nothing, and then you're literally asleep by the end of it? Because I know I was. And I know a lot
I certainly wasn't asleep by the end of it. I thoroughly.
Did you stay up to watch it though? That's the question.
Well, whether I stayed up to watch it or not, or whether I caught it the next day, it doesn't really matter. I still enjoyed the pay-per-view.
But to be fair,
maybe you were just too tired to enjoy it. Maybe you were too tired to enjoy it.
I was gonna say that I can't rest on that because in fairness, I was only back from, so I'm not gonna. That's not the stick to beat you with. But look, I thought it was the wrong decision to do. I thought Bayley probably would have won it. I would have loved to see. But no, look, there's probably more to come from that. But anyway, we move on.
Right, we shall move
on.
Debate.
I say you missed me.
No, I don't mind the debate at all. It's like, look, pro wrestling is a difference of opinion. What you enjoy, and what you don't, you don't.
Exactly.
Balor versus Edge. I kind of like this in some respects. The father-son violence kind of thing is a bit sort of can be a little bit uncomfortable.
Close to your heart, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but it can be a little bit uncomfortable as well when you're experiencing it. I thought the match.
Getting beaten? Do I need to have a chat with Ben? What's the story?
No, not at all. He beats me up all the time. Sure, we were in the gym tonight and he was killing me. But I thought, in fairness, I thought the match was solid. I thought the interference elevated it a little bit where it could have hurt it. I didn't think it was that bad. But I thought the emotion of the match, and I called it that I thought maybe Beth might be involved if she was front row or something like that. And they did. They brought her in and stuff like that. And I thought Rhea did a great job. I thought she was awesome. And I called it.
There's the best female worker actually in the fucking.
You're going to have to make up your mind because I think you've called 3 best female workers in the space of this half an hour. You're going to have to pin your flag to one mast. No, she's absolutely excellent on top of her game.
I'm joking with you there.
Fantastic. Absolutely. But I knew in order to get Edge to say I quit, it would have to be family or emotional or Ray or Beth or something like that, and they pass it off absolutely brilliantly. And I thought Balor looked fantastic. I don't know if you've seen him when he came out and he had did you see him coming out with that mask and stuff like that, and all looked really, really cool. They're really pulling it into a kind of a really dark place and stuff like that, which is really, really cool.
Well, I mean, you've got H, who's obviously quite clearly a fan of the guy.
Yeah.
And he's going, I don't want to weaken. He obviously doesn't want to weaken Balor because Balor is main event level, and we've seen it. You know, people, we get, me in particular, we get accused all the time of being biased. And of course I'm going to be biased. I've always said that. I openly admit that. But I mean, he is legit main event level. He's the first fucking Universal Champion of all time. And that was under Vince's watch.
Yeah.
He just happened to get injured. But the thing about this one it was one of my least favorite Balor matches, funny enough. It was and it wasn't nothing that Balor done wrong or Edge done wrong. I was the same as you. I thought it just became a bit of a cluster. I mean, Rey Mysterio had a comeback in a match that he wasn't even involved. It was like, what's going on? And now you see where I'm going with the booking. It was like, where are we going with this now? Like, I understand. I think the best solution to not hurt either character was because obviously Edge isn't going to quit. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's not just going to quit from a sharpshooter. You know what I mean? I thought they might make Balor quit in some silly kind of way. You know, finally it gets his comeuppance. They didn't do it, thankfully. And I loved all the social media stuff. Balor don't quit. That was just very funny stuff. Like, but it did because it went to a very dark place. I agree. Like, it went to a dark place where I was kind of almost. You're going to be surprised by this, where I was almost uncomfortable with. You know,
but I think that's what they wanted because they brought you in the father.
I'm happy with it though.
Yeah, they brought you in the father and son element, but they also brought you in the husband and wife element.
I didn't give a shit about the father and son element. Dominic could have been shot in the head. Now, obviously,
but you have to remember they're trying to raise his profile within Judgment Day as well, and that's real. And you can see over the last month what they've been doing with Rhea Ripley and him and stuff like that. They've been raising them and raising them.
How Rhea Ripley, by the way, is she? That's a dark character. My God, her facials, man, when she got the key and tied up Edge, I was like, that's it. Surely
that's real world for that girl. That girl is, when you see that girl on telly, that's not even gimmick. I don't know if you follow her on socials and stuff like that. She's a tad bit out there, let's say. I just think the way Judgment Day is coming together, I think they had to bring on this wave of emotion in the match in order to sell the I quit and stuff like that. And I thought they did an excellent job, and I don't think the interference in my eyes hurt the match at all. And I thought you got the double wave of emotion and stuff like that because now it's very personal for Edge, whereas before the personal side of Edge was him supporting Ray because of Dominic.
One thing I do hate though is the concerto. I've always hated it.
It's very dangerous, isn't it?
Every time, and it's like it's unnecessary too. Like you could, there's a few things that they do. You know, when they gimmick the chair and they jump on with the neck.
Yeah.
You know, they like that would have been perfect. You know, have Shane. You know, have Rhea jump up and do Balor's fucking finisher on the neck or something. I just that concerto, like, oh my God! Because
but again, it elevated it because it was Edge.
No, I know it's
so in that stage, but I don't like it at all because if you swing that chair and get that wrong, you're mashing someone's head.
And there's no blame spatter as well. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I want wrestling to make sense. It's just the way I'm always going to be wired. I want it to make sense, right? Where's the brain spatter? Why isn't Bet dead? Why isn't there a funeral now on Raw? You know, but it's blah blah blah. That's the way I think. I think logically, and like logically to me, it's like, all right, this isn't making sense. Now, her getting in the ring, fucking spearing lads and blah blah blah. I get it. She's gonna get her fucking help her husband, and she's the glamour's on, and she's put together. In fairness, for a woman, like, I love Bet. Like, she's deadly. Feud I'm looking forward to see. There you go. There's two fucking superstars that could wrestle, and it would make sense. The Glamazon and Rhea Ripley. Now,
That's the best now as well, is she?
No, not even nearly what you stuff. No, unless it's a crucifixion, man, within 5 minutes of the match, and Rhea kills her, then it makes no sense. But you go where you get where I'm going with this. I'm saying it. The bigger people are always going to win. It's just the way it is. And I ain't no big guy, in the words of Eddie Murphy. I'm fucking 5'9". I'm the same as you, Niall. We can't. You're a big guy. You can fucking spear people.
I'm thick.
But exactly. Don't put yourself down. No, the point I'm making is it was good. It was a clusterfuck at the end. They got where they needed to go. I think Balor was elevated as a heel, which definitely now you see that he is the heel in this. And obviously now they're going, Edge is probably going to take a little bit of a break again. Makes sense. And we go into, Balor and AJ, which, I mean, that's money right there. And then the main event.
Yeah, Riddle versus Rollins.
Can I ask you one thing? That should have been the main event, right?
Balor defeating Balor versus Edge.
Balor Edge. I mean, that was what was advertised on the posters. I mean, it's.
Yeah,
I've heard lots of people. I'd say it's about 60-40 for me that I've read saying, "Why the fuck?" I mean, I know the Matt Riddle one was personal with Rollins, but I mean, you can't really get much more personal than what they've been doing with.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose we knew where it was going to go once you got the referee in there, Daniel Cormier, and then you knew it was going to be that match.
Maybe that does make sense. That does make sense.
Yeah, because yourself, you're not going to elevate someone in at that level and suddenly.
You see where I'm coming from, though.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But not where I'm coming from. To be fair, absolutely. I'm only going by what a lot of fans are saying. So.
This was another one I really enjoyed. I love this kind of continual development of Rollins and stuff like that. He came out in the singlet RVD type of thing and all, and he's just every month he seems to find another way to crowbar something in. That I think is really, really cool. And I like this version of Rollins at the moment. I do still watch with dread when he picks up guys and fires them into walls and into barriers and stuff like that. It still does worry me at times and stuff like
haunting, that. Isn't it?
Yeah, it just every time I see him do that to a wrestler, I just see Balor hitting that barrier and that shoulder going, and I just go, oh my God. But yeah, no,
you ruined it, damn it.
I liked the way Riddle went about it and stuff like that, and I kind of felt that Riddle needed to win and stuff like that because of how personal it got, and even the match at Clash kind of lent itself to this, because Rollins had kind of wound him up so much he had got him there, and I thought the ending sequence, with the way the match had been laid out and stuff like that, I thought the ending to the match could have done with a little bit more oomph in it, if you like.
Did you wince a little bit when you saw him come over the top, especially without wrestling boots on, like barefoot? Like
I said I made a comment when I was watching it the other day, and that move to me always looks like an ankle's gonna pop or he's gonna roll a foot.
But even something as simple as a broken fucking toe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Stub your toe in a canvas or something like that. Yeah,
the nail is off, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
it just feels weird. Yeah, it feels weird. I don't know. I've never been in a ring. I've never ran a set of ropes or something like that. I'm sure for most wrestlers.
I'll give you a story. You know, a man. I'm wearing a Paddy M t-shirt here now. Shout out to Paddy Morrow, basically fucking lifelong friend. Best, in my opinion, one of the best wrestlers of all time that no one knows about in fucking America or anywhere else in the world. Ask Finn Balor what he thinks about him.
Yeah.
But I remember working a match. It was my first ever match. Oh no, sorry, it was my second ever match with a Heavy D, who you know very well. Shout out to Dara.
Was a big fan of Heavy D back in the day, yeah.
And he done a moonsault, and I swear to God, he landed on me. I took it perfectly grand. He landed it perfectly grand. And all I heard was, ah. And I was like, I'm the one that's meant to be fucking screaming. What are you talking about? And he came back to the locker room, toenail gone. He had taken the moonsault and stubbed his fucking toe. And that's so. Do you see where my?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I wince when I see him wrestling.
It's
and
PTSD
like
for me because I remember coming back and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I remember him taking the boot off and the white sock under the boot and just blood
drenched
through it. And I just went, "Oh, holy fuck! I'm out." I went straight to the pub.
And as you're peeling that sock off, you're thinking of a totally snapped toe, not even just the nail and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I went to times. I don't know how he does it. Like, it's just, to me, it just feels weird. But I mean, obviously, he's very comfortable doing it and he's used to it and stuff like that. But I think
here's one for you.
Probably feel even weird working against it, would you? Like, even when you go to lock up and you'd be scared that you'd stand on his foot or something like that. Or
yeah. I don't like. I'm not a fan of the barefoot stuff. I know it's different, and it is a real throwback to Von Erickson, and and I love it. And obviously, he's doing it more so because of the UFC gimmick.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. I read some stuff, and like obviously it's the night of debates, so I'm this one I'm not gonna really. I don't know. It depends on what way you go with this. I was reading some bits and pieces and some Twitter arguments actually on Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins as to who people think is the bigger star, who is the better guy, and who is the one that WWE should really be focusing on.
Is that even a debate? It's not a debate for me.
Go on.
Well, for me, it's Seth Rollins by far.
We're not going to debate then. No,
it's not. Look, I turned around. I had this conversation with Darren as well before Dazzler. Me and Darren got into that debate the night of Clash at the Castle when we turned around.
There is no debate.
Darren was of the opinion that he could see Seth Rollins as a future world champion, and I said, not in my lifetime. I don't think so. And that's no disrespect to Matt Riddle. He has his place in wrestling, and he's a performer, and the stuff with Randy and the RK Bro stuff and all, it's really, really cool and stuff like that. But when you look at Rollins when he's in there with him, and I know he got his payback on this one, and Rollins in desperation and submitting and all that kind of stuff and all. But if you look at the work of Seth Rollins, if you look at the Clash at the Castle match, there was a lot of carrying in that match where he still isn't there, and Rollins is like that level above and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's a being a really, really good performer and being a really, really good wrestler is one thing. Being a world champion and carrying the company and stuff like that is a very different situation.
And also, I will say something about Seth Rollins as well. Like with a lot of the, you said that you hate when you see him go with that, but you see he's a lot safer with it now. Like he throws people in a much safer position. Yeah. He actually took. I mean, I watched him in interviews and stuff, and he said like it really hurt him when he heard people like Bret and Sting and all come out and talk about his lack of, even Booker T talking about his lack of safety,
his lack of care for his dance partner.
Yeah, like and that obviously got to him, because I'm telling you here and now, man, there's not one person that goes in. Well, certainly not not that I've met anyway. Thankfully, because those people should be in jail because you're just a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
I've never met a pro wrestler or an aspiring wrestler that has wanted to hurt people. You know what I mean? I mean, luckily for me, it's not really happened. I've not happened to hurt anyone, or, I mean, I got involved in, my back, as everyone knows, is fucked. But that was just an accident that couldn't be helped.
Happen, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I've never met anybody through all my training, through anybody that I've been in the ring with, or anyone that I've met even now, all the young up and comers, that has had this kind of weird fucking thing of wanting to. You don't get into it for that, So Seth has quite clearly, taken every bit of critique that he's got on board and made it part of his, I suppose, being not to happen again. And I just see a great worker. I think he's I think he's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I think he's really fantastic, and I think, do I think he's main event level now with all the people that are around him? I think it doesn't matter anymore. He's completed. It's like the old in betweeners. I completed it, mate. He's
very
won the titles.
he's very like Sheamus at the moment, insofar as he looks like he's enjoying his craft and he's enjoying his
Exactly,
job. And you can
you
see
don't need
when
the
you're seeing
belts,
him,
man.
even when you're seeing him with the singlet doing the Rob Van Dam thing and all, and the reaction of Van Dam on social media to it and stuff like that, and all was absolutely priceless. It was just really,
Well,
really
when you
cool.
look at people like him, you look at people like him and Balor, for example, who now have they know. I mean, I'm sure H probably has different ideas in mind for them. When you look at people like them who were like, we want to be world champions, when they look at someone like, the Brock Lesnar's of this world, and fucking Roman, it was literally the god of professional wrestling at the moment. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, they're happy with that spot. Like, we're on the tier next. You know what I mean? Like, listen, Roddy Piper was never world champion. He didn't need to be. And guess what? He's still over more than fucking half of the world champions that people can't name.
Yeah, I think the tiering in wrestling is created more by the internet community than it is by the actual wrestlers themselves and stuff like that. I mean, these guys these guys that we talk about, the likes of Rollins and Lesnar and Balor and guys like that, they can be called upon at any time to propel into a main event situation on a pay-per-view, and they generally won't let you down. They'll generally perform and stuff like that. They get it.
Whereas
And
Roman
they know
Reigns
it.
is a once in a lifetime, isn't he?
He is, but again, I mean, they've put him with some brilliant people. They've developed him in a certain way that's been brilliant, and he's and in fairness to him as well, he's had to deliver and step up as well, and it's been absolutely brilliant and it's worked great. And he is very much comes across now very much legit and stuff like that and all. And those matches he's had with Lesnar and all have legitimized them and stuff like that and all. And even that match he had a clash with Drew was a really, really good match and stuff like that. Now the sing song at the
look
end
at the evolution. Look at the evolution
Yeah.
of the tree, right? The tree, your favorite. The fucking, you've got him, Ambrose, and Rollins. Rollins has evolved to where we actually had a podcast almost fully talking about where's he going to go next. We want to see what's happening. Now we're seeing something happening. He's now that guy, in the office, which is me, by the way, who wants to antagonize people and just fuck with people. You know what I mean? Just like as a joke.
Yeah.
So, you want to fight me all of a sudden? What the hell? I was only joking. You know what I mean? Whereas Ambrose, glad he's healthy. That's the main thing. That's all I can say about his work. Glad he's healthy. Because his work is fucking atrocious.
I don't know. His work has been pretty good, hasn't it, since he's come back off the rehab and stuff like that? He's been different. He's in a difficult situation though. They're going through the mire over there at the moment, so you have to allow for that as well and stuff like that, But I think I mean we've mentioned on a couple of podcasts how better he looks and stuff like that, and he's adding a little bit to his repertoire and stuff like that as well. So now there's no doubt.
That's why I'm saying
if you're comparing the tree, and he's also just signed a new 5-year deal with AEW as well.
Who?
Moxley till 2027.
Like I said, I couldn't give a fuck about that guy. I'm at the wishing him well in his health because that's about it. Because he's fucking, I can't watch the lad wrestle anymore. Good Lord. Jesus Christ, give me Hangman Page. And then we
that little snake in the grass.
Oh yeah, I know, yeah. Fuck you, punk. You went to fuck it all. Fucking no. He's a snake in the grass. I don't want Hangman Page. No, look, Moxley. I've always been a big fan of Moxley, and you know that.
Yeah.
He was actually my guy early on. Funny enough. I'd like to see him do a bit more wrestling now and less of that fucking nonsense. But either way, we're gonna get on to Roman, because Roman, I know he's not on this fucking show, but Roman is the guy he is the pinnacle. He's your Hulk Hogan. He's your modern day Hulk Hogan. He's your modern day Rock. He's your modern day Austin. Where you're going, right? That's the guy you cannot take the title off. And there's a thing where it becomes impossible from a business standpoint to take the title off this person because he is the guy, and it just happens. You know what I mean? Like it happened with Orton and Cena.
Yeah.
Cena for a long time was the protagonist. He was the heel, was happy to be the heel, get a couple of title wins under the belt. I mean, what fucking Orton's probably he's only about 4 or 5 behind Cena anyway.
Yeah.
But the guy that gets those few, but Cena was that guy as the babyface. Now you've got the opposite. You've got the modern world where Roman is your bad guy, and you're gonna continue booing him, but secretly
He's
you're
your guy.
fucking loving him.
He's your guy.
So it's the opposite of Austin, isn't it? Because in Austin, you were like, you had the anti-hero. You were like, you were sick of people telling you, this is what you should cheer. This is what you should do. Blah, blah, blah. You know, and Bret, like, obviously had a big part in that. I was like, what are you cheering this guy for? He's bad.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit. And then, you know, Austin coming out with corporate fucking greed, blah, blah, blah. Whereas Roman comes out and people are booing him because it's actually my job to boo him. But secretly, I wish I looked like him.
Yeah, but right? I think like anything, if you look at the bloodline and you look at the way that has gone, I mean, Sami Zayn has come into that and he's been absolutely electric. And I think if Sami hadn't have got into that situation and hadn't gone in there, that whole bloodline situation, you could get jaded by it. Like it, you know, it could run its course. And then you have that opportunity to change it, you know. Because when you think about the way they've done it over the last year or two, it's kind of evolved to the point where it's very hard to evolve it any further. Okay, they bring in the other Uso and stuff like that, but what do? You run that for 6 months and then you find another Uso and bring him in, and another Uso and another Uso and stuff like that. But they've brought in Sami Zayn, has to be employee of the year in there, because no matter what they throw at him, he takes bowling balls and the nuts off Johnny Knoxville. He'll go into a big mouse trap and do that, and he'll make him look $1 million, and then they'll turn around and go, you know, we're going to make you an honorary Uso now on the bloodline. You go, yeah, so why not? Bit of crack. You can imagine Sami Zayn backstage going, oh really? I like the sound of that. You know what I mean? Everyone's looking at going, honorary Uso, Sami Zayn, what the hell's going on here? But yet you go out and they make it work, and it's absolutely brilliant. And that kind of refreshes the bloodline a little bit, because we know we're going to get something good down the line with Sami Zayn and stuff like that. But if they don't make that, and it's just still about Roman and the two boys and Paul Heyman, you know, we've seen it even with Lesnar at times. When Lesnar was with Heyman, it kind of ran its course a bit, and it got a bit wearing after a while. Now that he's away from Paul Heyman, I mean, as you said, we've seen it on Raw and stuff like that, where he demolished Bobby Lashley, and it just looks really cool. And it's awesome, you know. But I'd say before we get off the pay-per-view, Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds, is back.
I want to talk about that, yeah.
Well, what was your thinking on that? I thought they did it really, really cool. I thought.
I'm not going to be one of these moaners now on this one. I marked out for that.
Yeah.
Actually, funny enough, because it was because you would kind of give me the old wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and heads up, and I was only back obviously on the Friday evening, and I had set my day like the way. Let me give you a bit of context, right? This is how easily pleased I was. So a bit of context. I came back from Paris. My flight was delayed by 2 hours, which is always fun, as you know.
Yeah.
Very fun. And I went that Friday night. I went and I'd done band rehearsal. There you go.
Okay.
No one knows that. A quick one. We'll have that.
Little segue there into another Dynamo's dozen episode, I'd imagine.
Possibly. So in my head, I was really looking forward to 2 things on Saturday night. I was looking forward to Eubank and Ben, but then I'd found out that one cheated, and then the fight was off, and I was like, oh god damn it. But I knew that WWE wouldn't let me down because there's no drug testing. So I was like, deadly, this is going to happen. So I was like really happy with that. So on Saturday, I came back, woke up, and I was like, right, I'll have a couple of beers Saturday night. I had a couple of beers at about 11 o'clock or so. Had a good sleep during the day, proper sleep.
Yeah.
And even when I woke up, and obviously it's spooky season, so watched a few little horror bits and stuff like that. Then had another sleep at about 6 or 7. So I was ready. So, of course, I still fell asleep during the pay-per-view because it's just my fucking. But I woke up and realized that I'd missed the last hour.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck. So I went back, rewinded on the network, watched the main event again.
Mm.
And I was really looking forward to, because as I said, you would give me the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I was like, right, I'm expecting Wyatt here. I haven't seen him yet. So
yeah.
What's going on? And then when I saw that at the end, the lights go out, I was like, oh,
yeah.
This is interesting. And I thought that whole bit, he's got the whole. I was like, that's genius.
Yeah.
I thought it was done fantastically.
Yeah.
It was cool. Each different, corner of the arena having a different symbol, and then seeing him as Wyatt.
Yeah, the mask coming off and the lantern, and it was really, really cool. Very.
Let me ask you a question about Wyatt before we get into the fun parts. Yeah. Where do you think it is with him? Like, where do you think he lies now in terms of his actual legacy? Do you think now he's fighting for his legacy in the sense that he's fighting for his legacy as himself and not the Fiend? Fuck the Fiend. Do you know what I mean?
I think he's going to I think he's going to go through a similar thing to like what Drew did, except he didn't really go out back into the wrestling world and reinvent himself and come back in and stuff like that.
Didn't mean to.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Well, to a point, I'd say, but I would have likened to see. I would have likened to see some development out there in a different kind of way. Because it needs to come back in such a way that it's kind of, there's a little bit of nostalgia and it's cool as well, but it needs to be kind of fresh as well. And I think H will probably have done a lot of work on that. In order to convince him to come back, they have obviously sat down with him and they've laid out probably a year's length of program and stuff like that, and say, this is where we want to go with this, and similar to Judgment Day, they probably want to go pretty dark with it. They want to let it go itself, but they probably want him to have more of an input. Like, I'm assuming he hasn't come back where we're going to see holographic worms on the canvas and all this kind of shite that went on. Absolute fucking nonsense. And I just, something, I just like to see maybe a straight up kind of family faction, Wyatt family kind of follow the Buzzards, go back to where that kind of whole thing began and follow it on from there in the way that they should have and the way that we thought, rather than evolving into stuff like this. I mean, the Fiend was kind of, it was decent and it was kind of cool, but it descended into nonsense. And I just think I like the idea where he had the mask and he unmasked himself and he was Bray Wyatt again with the lantern. I thought was cool. And I like the idea that he did it in the door as well. So the door was kind of symbolistic as well, that like he opened the door to have a look back in again and see whether he fancied it again or not, kind of thing, that way. It was like that forbidden door type of thing, and I thought that was kind of cool. And I'm excited to see what happens on Friday night now, but I don't need the funhouse crap. I don't need the split personality character crap. I don't need any of that. I just want him to come out as like, if you could nearly get, what I was thinking the other night, I said, wouldn't it be cool if they brought the Briscoe brothers in as part of the Wyatt family or something like that and set the place electric.
That's not bad. Like, the thing about Bray Wyatt was he had a great look as Bray Wyatt. And the thing is, he's actually one of the best actors that's come out of WWE in the last fucking 20 years. I mean, I remember talking to people, including my missus. She was like always enthralled by his promos.
Yeah.
And Rachel well. Yeah. Rachel was always like, she'd be one of those that'd be like, she's not a fan like us.
Yeah.
So she'd be like, oh, I like that. Oh, I don't like that. And that's the casual viewer. I always say that to people. It's the casual viewer you want to catch. So if you can catch a casual viewer and go, that actually interested me. That's the casual viewer that you're getting then on your fucking TV, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
And I found him to be more enthralling than that mask. I mean, look, it's great.
Yeah.
I love the mask. I'm the biggest horror fan on the fucking planet. You know this,
Yeah.
but I always found Bray Wyatt to have more layers to him.
Yeah.
Than anything, because you fry a lad to death. Like, where's the cops? You've just burned someone alive. Why isn't Randy Orton going out in handcuffs? Like, the man's murdered someone.
Yeah, no, it's they just sometimes you have to just take it for what it is and stuff like that. But look, Friday will tell the tale. He's on SmackDown on Friday, as far as I know, and it'll be interesting to see what way they're going to go with it. I'm praying for a kind of a Wyatt family kind of way to this, and I wonder was the symbol of him taking the mask off and the lantern there, and him peering through that lantern and looking out that door. Was he really saying kind of like a changing of the guard, that all that is gone and now you're just going to get the straight up Wyatt family?
You know what I want? An 80s style pairing at Survivor Series of the Judgment Day and the Wyatt family coming together, like Balor, and like that's exactly what it opens up. Like, that's what we get. You know what I mean? That's exactly what we can get.
Yeah, no, I think they keep them apart. It's great though. We've often said on the show about faction wrestling, haven't we? That when there's faction wrestling in there, it's really, really cool. And they've gone.
But I'm just thinking, like, DiBiase, the heels all together. I never thought I'd have DiBiase and Earthquake together. Like, what's going on here? Like, Balor and fucking Wyatt all of a sudden together. What's going on here? Because I'm sure Wyatt's not coming back as a babyface.
No, very over, but probably not well. He'll probably have to sell it a certain way. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
Is there a better man on the planet on the mic though?
Yeah, there is, but not in that way. Not in that way. Not in the way he. His timing and the context and the way he puts it across. Yeah, in terms of his character.
That's what I mean.
But I hope that's the way they go. Hopefully so. We'll wait and see for Friday.
Let's get into the fun part then, because without the fun house nonsense,
the fun part,
as you called
it. Yeah. Our week in wrestling history. This is going to be a tough one for you. Some tough stuff happened. Shit. Some tough stuff happened this week now. And I had to dig deep because, funny enough, the week that normally.
Are you going on this?
No. The week that often goes after a pay-per-view tends to be a week where there's not a lot of stuff going on wrestling wise, because they haven't really laid out the next pathway to whatever. But we start with 1992. Bret Hart won his first WWE World title from Ric Flair in Saskatoon at a TV taping for episodes of WWF Superstars and Primetime Wrestling.
Coliseum home video. I have the match.
Never aired on TV. Only came out on Coliseum home video.
Yeah.
What a shame. What a shame. If there was ever TV material, that was it. We go back to 2008. The Academy Award nominated film The Wrestler, starring Mickey Rourke, had its first public screening at the New York Film Festival. 2008 this week. 1995.
What a movie, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. The predecessor to Dark Side of the Ring. Absolutely.
All based on Jake's life, and he's still with us. Thankfully, by the way. I'm not saying that in a bad way.
1995, WWE Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels was assaulted outside a nightclub in Syracuse, New York.
He deserved
it. that was the bad Shawn Michaels. He brought it on himself. He had too much
drink on him, and he was mounting out, man. He got slapped.
Yeah. 2007, we go back to Bound for Glory TNA. Sting won the TNA World Heavyweight title from Kurt Angle in the main event at Bound for Glory this week, back in 2007. 2009, a sad time. WWE Hall of Famer Captain Lou Albano passed away from a heart attack at the age of 76 in Westchester.
You started County. Me already, haven't you? That's one of them that you meant.
It's tip of the iceberg. Oh. 2020, British wrestling star Ryan Smile, a guy we knew well, passed away at the age of 31. He lost his battle with mental health. Very important to talk about that this week. It was mental health, World Mental Health Day yesterday. And yeah, I thought it'd be a good one to include and stuff like that. Very, very sad. A guy that we watched many a time in the Tivoli Theatre. Absolutely sensational and very, very sad.
And he was actually someone that was friends of friends. I didn't know the guy personally, but friends of friends. So love to his family and Jesus Christ.
He had some amazing moments in the Tivoli Theatre for OTT and stuff like that. 2020, on the 1 year anniversary edition of AEW Dynamite, a man you've been speaking about tonight, Jon Moxley retained the World Championship against Lance Archer. 1995 on Monday Nitro. You'd remember this one from Albany in New York. The unlikely team of Ric Flair and Sting faced Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman in the main event.
Yeah, I remember it well.
What a foursome. What a foursome. 1995, like it was yesterday. Here's one that's going to hurt you. We'll finish with this one. 2003, the patriarch of the Hart family and founder of Stampede Wrestling, Stu Hart, passed away from heart failure in Calgary. 2003 this week. So it was a tough one to go through. There was some tough ones in there, all right, but yeah, also some interesting ones. And of course, it's always nice when that old Shawn Michaels got his up and comings, of course, isn't it? He was a bad man at that time.
Well, look, I don't wish anyone getting hurt, but you know what I mean. It was
sometimes some guys just need a smack to straighten them out. That's all.
It's happened to the best of us, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It happened to the best of us, whether it was from Papa or fucking.
Yeah, notable birthdays for this week, and you'll enjoy this one. The girl we were talking about earlier will be mentioned, but we start out with the great Joint Haystacks, 1946.
Best female wrestler in the world right now.
Rhea Ripley celebrates her birthday this week,
second best.
1996. Followed by Ricochet celebrates his birthday this week as well. Shout out to Ricochet, super wrestler. 1988. Taz, 1967, celebrates his birthday this week.
He's not far off you, is he?
He's 5 years older than me. Less of that now. And my back and neck are in better nick. That's all I'm saying. But that's just fair. Only just.
You were never in the ring with Bam Bam Bigelow, though. Come on, give him a break.
No, and at times I feel like him.
Or at the guardrail with Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we were just talking up Triple H and stuff like that. The great Killer Kowalski would have celebrated his birthday this week, 1926. The Tonga Kid, 1965. And of course, you were mentioning Jake earlier, Sam Houston, 1963. And of course, the great son of a plumber, Dusty Rhodes, 1945, celebrates his birthday this week, along with the girl who probably had the most amazing legs in wrestling at one stage, Stacy Keibler, 1979, 7 years younger than me. Dan Spivey, 1952.
And shout out to Dan Spivey, by the way, someone that was that was nearly on the podcast a while back.
Yeah.
Great guy, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we rounded out Nikolai Volkov, 1947. That's our notable birthdays for this week. An interesting mixture, to say the least.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you went straight into the birthdays after the Stu Hart one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's a tough one. That and Captain Lou, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Captain Lou.
And Ryan, of course, and Ryan Smile, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, no. Listen, you could be fucking sitting here all day talking about which was, you know what I mean, which was the worst. It depends on, you know, people's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Captain Lou Albano, though, I will just say, one of the best managers of all time, one of the best characters of all time. I mean, I would encourage anybody getting into wrestling, whether you want to get into it from a management perspective, whether you want to get into it just from a character perspective, to watch Captain Lou Albano. I mean, it's all on the network. The guy is literally money, just absolute money. You know, off his cake. I guarantee you, he was pissed as a fucking skunk,
and way ahead of his time when it came to body piercings. way ahead of his time. When you think about where we've ended and where we've landed, my God, and you think about how long ago that was and stuff like that. And they're not a bad guy inside the ropes either. They're alone as a manager and as a character.
Great guy inside the ropes. Yeah. Watch his fucking territory stuff in New York back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't half bad.
No, that was it. That's our week in wrestling. A little bit down. I'll bring some positivity next week. Don't worry. Hopefully next week will be easier on us. It won't feel like a dark side of the ring.
Well, the thing about it is, you tried to make a pay-per-view that a lot of people thought was 50-50 into a positive light.
Yeah.
And some would say that you've done a good job. I would say you've done a good job on that.
Thanks very much.
For me, I thought it was shite. Overall, personally, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was WWE's best work, but I'm not really concerned about that. Do you know what I mean? Even though I didn't think it was the best pay-per-view, I'm not concerned about it because I'm not concerned about WWE and the direction that they're going in at the moment. I will just, before we do go, obviously, I just want to touch on one or two things from Raw last night. Obviously, AJ Styles brought the Good Brothers back and basically took Finn Balor, broke kayfabe, took Finn Balor's best mates from him and brought them back to scare them. So we're going to have a nice little interesting thing there. And you mentioned something as well. These are the current New Japan.
Yeah, one of them is rocking a belt, isn't he? And the talk was, would the belt show up as well? And I wouldn't be surprised if it does eventually. But yeah, no, it's an interesting one. How far away are we? I mean, if they're trying to work out something with New Japan, how far away are we before the Bullet Club shows up on WWE programming? Can't be that far away, can
it? I think it's very, very close, and I think it'll be because it's the Prince, and you're seeing that. I think H is doing everything he can. I think H is obviously a big fan of that whole series of things. Do you know what I mean? The whole Bullet Club, and it's kind of another knock in the head for the Elite, though, isn't it? A little bit. Where you're going, because it's like because that was the watered down version, the geek version. Whereas like if the real men, like the Good Brothers who talk about how much they drink on the road, they were hanging out with with AJ and not that AJ drinks, but or Finn, but they talk about how much they partied on the road. And then you've got like Kenny Omega. Oh, I completed Final Fantasy VII in 3 hours. How many did you do it in? And then they get the head slapped off them by a chair and old timers. And the boys show up on WWE, the biggest fucking company on the planet. You're kind of going, fuck, Tony, you need a hug.
I thought you were going to give AEW a week off. No, you're at them again now. Look, they've disappointed you so much. You're going in on them now.
I'm just calling it like it is, pal. Like this is a big one. Like if you get Bullet Club versus like Judgment Day or whatever you want, and I mean, there's going to be a turnaround where Balor one day will be the Demon again. You know what I mean? This is what H is thinking in his mind.
Yeah.
Get this guy relevant again. Very, very smart fucking booking.
It's mad, isn't it? On the 25th anniversary of DX, and we know we're going to talk about it later in the week, but on the anniversary of the 25 years of DX, but on the anniversary of 25 years of DX, we're getting stables forming all over the business, all over the shows, and it's kind of fitting and stuff like that. And look, I've beat that drum for years. I love faction wrestling. I just think it's fantastic, because there's so many layers to it.
You grew up in it though. You grew up in the era of faction wrestling. And the thing about it is, I saw someone turn around saying, it was Corey Graves that turned around and goes, the other guy's making hand signals or something on the other show. We're talking
stationery or something like that. Stationery, yeah, sesame. No, they're going in, and it's interesting as well because they're even the commentators, they're allowing the announcers and the commentators and all to mention everyone else and stuff like that, which is really
How
really
good has
cool.
Michael Cole become, in your opinion?
Yeah, no, he's excellent. He's really he's come back, but I mean he's kind of like the guy in there now. He's that guy that has to have taken on the mantle as being the experienced guy because you've Corey Graves in there who's really good as well. And Kevin's gone in now onto the announce desk as well, and it got interesting reactions, mixed reactions to it and stuff like that. But it's probably going to take a bit of time to bed in and stuff like that.
Shout out to Kevin. Actually, he's
Yeah.
Instagram DM'd me before as well, and appreciated the good stuff. But I will say one thing about Michael Cole. For all you kids out there, do you know that he was one of the backstage announcers with the microphones at the Montreal Screwjob?
Yeah.
Imagine that was 1997.
Yeah,
this guy ain't no fucking blowing.
No,
he has been there and loyal to that company, and I guarantee you, Michael Cole with his voice would have been amazing in any company, like whether it be baseball or football, you know what I mean, and any kind of big organization, whether it be Fox News or CNN, or he would have been absolutely phenomenal in any line of work. He stayed true to the fact the guy has literally got himself in shape just to be in the ring. I think we should have a Michael Cole appreciation episode one day.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's never happening on this show. But until next time, I sucked you in and I fucking gave you the finger.
The pause was there. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. No, 100%. Now, until next time, this has been your Dynamo's Dozen Extreme Rules review, and of course, the usual birthdays and this week in wrestling. We really appreciate you guys and gals stopping by. Hope you made it till the end because it's worth it. But until next week, for me, Ian the Dynamo Kelly, and for the captain of the ship, the man that's been steering the ship.
And should we, before you're over and out there, we should mention we had two visitors to the shop today, Joseph and Breeza, and they mentioned to me they got married, and the minister who was the ordaining them was Big E Langston, Big E himself from the New Day. And they showed me the pictures.
And you told them you were going to give them a shout out today as well.
Yeah, I told him I'd give him a shout out on the show as well. Really, really cool. But to see him there, and he wasn't allowed. They requested him to wear the singlet, and he wasn't allowed to wear the singlet as the ring gear doing it and stuff like that. But you would have been proud of Joseph. I sent you the picture that he was wearing the Bret Hart jacket. The chalk line Bret Hart jacket. And Breeza, his wife, was in she was in a white dress, but she was wearing the women's championship and stuff like that. Two crazy wrestling fans. They're from LA and they're over in Ireland, and then I think they're heading over to Scotland as well. They're doing a bit of a tour of Europe, but they came in today and we spoke about the old NWA stuff and all. No, not on their honeymoon. No, this happened a while ago and stuff like that. But they were telling me about it and stuff like that. It was really cool. But they're mad into the wrestling. Me and Joseph were talking for about an hour about the old NWA territory days and all, and we got into talking about loads of cool stuff and things like that. It was really cool. And his wife Breeza, she's huge into wrestling as well, so it was really cool.
Awesome. What a great way to end the show, actually. That's actually a great way to end the show.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah, shout out to you guys as well. If you ever want Niall to marry you, he can do that. He's an ordained priest, only online. He won't meet you in person. And don't go into the shop looking for wedding bookings
or marriage certificates. You're in the wrong office.
But we do know a guy, and it begins with D. Dazzler will marry you in a heartbeat for a fee. So no, 100%, absolutely. All the love in the world to those, to that couple. That's a pretty cool story, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
And until next time, for me, your host or co-host, whatever you want to call me, today's episodes anyway, and your real host, the shopkeeper Niall Hogan. Dynamo is over and out.